And welcome to episode 3 of HyzerCast, HyzerMedia's disc golf podcast. Joined with me, as always, Joanna Lou and Lou Garcia.
Hey.
Exciting episode we have in store for everybody today. We'll jump right into it. First topic is play or throw styles. So first question is, do certain play/throw styles have certain advantages for different types of courses? So in terms of maybe we'll start with what type of styles do you think you guys have? We'll go around. Certain play style, throw style, dominant, forehand, backhand.
Yeah.
How you play, is it strategically, safe? You try to just bomb everything? How do you guys feel?
Well, I can't say that I bomb everything because I just don't have the distance yet. But
Ace run video.
Ace run video. So maybe I should run everything.
Yes.
I got pretty close.
Run
Everything.
Always run.
Okay, well,
Always run.
now I don't know how to answer those questions because
like we didn't just say that.
everything is changing. No, but I'm a right-hand, backhand player. I really don't have a forehand in my arsenal. Yes, I use it to get out of trouble situations. Sure, some close upshot range, but it's not something you'll ever see me do off the tee. That being said, who knows? Maybe by the end of this year, you'll see it. Who's to know? But it's definitely a skill that I am developing and that I know that I need, and it's, I think, something that's holding me back. So.
Do you find yourself making like safe decisions, like a conservative player, or do you just see the line that's going to give you the best result? There's some risk involved, but you're just going for it. Are you risk-reward player, conservative player, aggressive?
I think, I don't know. Sometimes I'm a mix of everything. Like, depending how I'm feeling that day, if the disc is really coming out well and I feel like I can see it and I'm executing, then I'm like, oh, we're going for it. Like,
Yeah.
we're taking that risk. And I have no problem playing every hole for par. I really don't. I think that's important, and I think when I can successfully drive, have my upshot, park it, tap in, that's amazing. And then we'll work from there. Okay, how much can we stretch that? How's the jump putt? How's this? Then we work for birdies. But I think until you feel like you can master that drive, upshot, putt game, I don't know, can you really be super, super risky?
I think it's awareness, right? Just awareness.
Yeah.
If you're always going for it, maybe it's just, there's reckless players out there, so I don't know.
I mean, I love going for it. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
I sound like super boring.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
There's nothing better than just eating
Pars
as
all
hard.
day.
No, like eating as hard as you can, or like running a putt, and you're like, well, all right, I got a 20-footer back because I didn't really, or I overshot or whatever. Like, it's part of the game.
I think I'm a conservative player.
Yeah.
There are moments like where I'm feeling it and the lines feel like I can trust everything that I'm about to attempt here. It's going to work out. Then there's other days where you're just in spots of the course. I find myself to be a very versatile player. I have a lot of shots, overhand shots, roller shots. I have a combination of those shots too, where trying to play overhand shots to purposeful rollers, sky rollers if you want to call them in such a way. I'm always trying to think about that dynamic of what the disc is going to do in flight and in action on the ground too. Even if it's going to be a skip shot around the corner with a forehand, a thumb or roller, anything. So very versatile, looking for a new shot, always. I don't work much with my left hand at all. I've tried working in, probably the weirdest thing would be a lefty putt. And I've just never found application where I felt like it would save me strokes or a stroke off of, I don't know how many rounds. Could it be the stroke that matters? That would be insane, maybe. Who's to say? Who's not?
Sports Center, the lefty putt.
Yeah.
But any which way you could throw the shot, down, I'll try to figure it out. I think I have a good understanding of the flight and physics of my bag, more importantly. But overall, like a conservative approach. I'll find gaps where I can go for it, and I have no problem. But not like super aggressive at all with even running the basket. I always feel like I throw good shots to get up by the basket for birdie, and I have less aces than my friends that don't even try to compete at the level that I compete. And It's just my safe play up to my zone where I want to putt and make my shots and get birdies and get birdies and get birdies and get birdies. And that's the thing that's going to contribute to a victory maybe at the end of a tournament.
Yeah.
I certainly am mostly backhand, same as you. Probably the same thing, trying to work in a forehand because I'm a fairly new player as well. I think I find myself in like my play style being overly confident in my abilities, which means I'm usually not in a good position and I'm trying way too aggressively to get to the basket when I should just be pitching out to get up for a bogey or whatever. But instead I see this little tiny gap way up in the trees and I'm trying to throw some backhand turnover flex shot to try to park it when I really I can't do that.
That's you I'm stuck behind on the court all the time.
Yes. That's right. I play much differently in tournaments than I do casually. Casually, when there's, less people on the course. That's what I'm doing. Tournaments, I'm probably more conservative because I care more about my score.
Right.
There's a piece of advice that I heard that, if you're off the fairway, your next shot does not have to save the hole. It doesn't have to be great. It just has to be good. Like, it just has to move you up,
Progress.
get you in a better spot, and then you work from there. Like, don't try and get all the way to the pit. Yeah. Don't bite off more than you can chew, and then it'll backfire on you.
Recognizing your position, out of position.
Right.
It's a small little battle. You're not going to win it all here, but you could start losing it here.
Yeah.
I have
That's true.
I have a little philosophy that I break out at every hole. It doesn't happen much on the courses I play all the time because I kind of have a shot dialed in or something like that. But anytime I'm trying to break down a hole that I haven't really played much before at all, I'm going to start from the potential ace run of it and assess dangers and a possibility. Can this happen? And I just start drawing back from there. It's too far, or it's too much OB. And then it's going to affect my disc selection. And then I start looking at my landing zone and picturing the flight of that disc. And then I start foreseeing being there and seeing my approach shot and my putt maybe. But I'll do this if I can't see the shot. And I'm on a par 5. I'm picturing my tee shot to my landing zone. And then I'm going to want to keep picturing myself shaping down the fairway from the possibility of wherever I landed, the basket back. So if I'm on a par 5, I can't reach the basket off the drive. From that no.
What the hell?
Aw.
No.
I mean, I try. I figured
Everybody tries. I mean, it really just depends on the course, I guess.
Yeah.
But long story short is that if I can't see the basket or whatever the case may be, at every lie that I'm at, I'm trying to break it down from the potential of making it in the bucket and back. I can't. What's the shot? What's this? And I just kind of break it down from there.
That's really great.
Yeah, very methodical, logical. That's, I think, a sign of a very mature disc golfer. I would say that's very rare to
pro.
find.
How about that?
Yeah,
The
when
sign
a
of a
new
pro.
player or even just
Because
like
if you're
less experienced
if
player.
you're like if you're finding yourself once again like you're going for it, your shot didn't work out. It's not bad that you're out of position, but what you're seeing in front of you, is it like this is going to be winning for me? This is it. It's almost like risk reward. You just got to know yourself good enough to start finding those rewards and those moments when there might be just a little too tight for you right now. So, like what you're saying, you're just plugging away, still just trying.
Yeah.
Like I'm going for it. So, it's almost like taking your lumps until you're like defeated. Like, all right, I've double bogeyed from here before.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna pitch out and just go for whatever my next lie is.
Yeah.
So, rolling off of that, in terms of, obviously, you're much longer in the sport, more experienced than the both of us. Would certain play styles or certain throw styles combination be easier for beginners to learn / attempt? And then are there different styles that maybe you develop into as an intermediate and then advanced player?
Yeah, this is a real quick one for me. I think I heard about this topic before the show, and I was thinking that one of the biggest things that I know from working with players over time is that I'm right-handed. Everything I do in sports my whole life has been with a left shoulder forward, a left eye forward, a left hand forward, left hip forward, and everything is this way. Bowling, billiards, boxing, it's all from
Any
here.
other B sports?
Baseball.
Basketball? Sorry.
No.
No, you're right. Everything else, you're
So
going this way.
this transition
backhand
here,
is the
right,
opposite.
and that's the point, is that when we first are introduced to disc golf, we picture throwing a frisbee, and we all know that frisbees are light and they fly fun, just with this little flick of the wrist. The weight on a disc is so much more, and they need so much more to fly. They are not meant for playing catch, so that's not the style of throw that's going to give you any type of productivity on the course. So the throwing motion of a backhand can be difficult for some players at first, because now they're right shoulder forward, right-handed forward, right-hipped forward, right-eyed forward. Their coordination is off like it's never been before in their lives, and they'll struggle with connecting with the motion based off that alone. So there's a hang up there of enjoyment, and people might not continue with the sport, or they'll just struggle for too long. Sometimes just switching to a forehand style, getting everything to change around to a comfortable motion you may have used in your earlier years. If you're someone who's been out of sports for some years, when you were a kid, you played baseball in gym. You remember, everybody had bats. So you can align with those muscle movements and the
much more
vision and the
natural.
depth. Your body's done something like that before, so you can now start to find fun. And that's for some people.
Right.
That's so interesting because, like, I played sports my whole life. I played softball for many teams all the way through high school. And I can't get that forehand motion. And I don't know what it is. I mean, backhand for me clicked instantly.
Yeah.
Like, that form just felt totally in my body and totally smooth. And I don't know why, but it's funny that it's like you say, okay, people can gravitate to that style. I don't know. I was the exact opposite in coming in. It's
Me too.
It's
I didn't
kind
need
of
it.
wild when you think about it. Like
it
how
is.
much I never really considered that when you said everything
That-
we've done is left shoulder forward, eyes forward, right arm for the right hand players.
Just
And-
the biggest hiccup that I'd seen is that, where some people that have a struggle connecting with the backhand throw in the early, like, I've been playing a week, a month, this is my second time playing, and they're looking for advice. Or you're on the course, how many times? Countless times, right? People just walk up to you, oh, it's our first time. Hey, you got any tips? What am I doing wrong here? And they have a driver in their hand. There's all these tips you want to give them. But the point is I think one of the biggest problems is connecting with the throw, whether it be forehand or backhand. And I think you need to identify, this works a little easier for me and gives me a little better result right now. Heck, there's been times where none of that's worked. I've suggested overhand shots, and they're throwing 250-foot overhand shots when they couldn't backhand over 120.
Wow.
Right? So, like, okay, it keeps you in the game to keep trying. Well, now you're teeing off with these overhand shots. You identify with that motion. You're playing the sport. Perfect. There's plenty of people out there that play predominant overhand shots.
Yeah.
There's people out there that do predominant roller shots. Guy that I played with for the last couple years, he had an injury, and it hurt when he threw backhand. So he threw soft forehands, and he threw forehand rollers. And he played gauntlet courses, Iron Hill, and he shot great there.
Wow.
It's like your discs get eaten up on that stone there. They'll turn into saw
Right.
blades.
Oh my
And
gosh.
he's playing roller rounds out there and doing just fine. So
That's
there's
incredible.
there's got to be a style that you gravitate towards, and you got to be willing to try a couple, and hopefully you find a fit for you. That's got to be one of the biggest things with choosing a style or something more beneficial than another. It's just finding that personal choice for you that's going to make you stick with the game and keep you in it long enough to adapt some other styles and
Definitely.
become creative with your craft.
Yeah, what's most natural in the body?
Yeah. Now, in terms of injury, you bring up my next point is certain players that either have short-term or long-term injuries, or older players who may have, the occasional ache and pain, hurt shoulder, whatever. I'll use my parents as an example. Kevin and Wendy, they play with us. You see, they play very different play styles. Wendy has only forehand. She cannot, only backhand. She cannot throw a forehand because of an injury of her shoulder. And Kevin is the exact opposite. He can't throw a backhand 50 feet. Sorry. But his forehand is pretty good. So what are your thoughts on injuries / older players who can only throw a certain way because of maybe an older injury type thing
Anything
in the play styles that way?
I've had several injuries. and muscular, it seems like, mostly in disc golf, and time off, and my injuries have healed and all that stuff. So if I had anything that I would think, because I'm not a doctor, and I'll just start with saying that, but if anything hurts, don't do it. And it's very important. No, it seems.
It's true, though.
Listen.
A lot of people push through.
Hold on. You will do incredible things to do the things you love, right? And even if it hurts a little bit, you still show up to play on Sunday. You still go to the gym. You're injured, you're still going in, you're playing your downs. And some mentalities like that stick, even more so, not just because it's like the mentality, but it's the passion. You can't get those people off the course or off the field. It doesn't matter. You can't throw the white towel in on them, even though that they have a dislocated shoulder and they have a broken rib. They're going to go out there that next round. That's what sports does to you. If it hurts, don't do it. But what I would say is that definitely tapping into a different style, something might feel easier on a specific muscle, joint, ligament, bone, spur. I have any part of your body. You can. There's so many different types of throws here. You have to potentially find something that just works a little better for what doesn't hurt. And when you become proficient at it, you'll always push the distance and value of the shot too. Can you do multiple things with it? Can you navigate with it? So injury will, if you love it enough, it'll make you adapt. It'll make you figure out something else. Have you dealt with any injuries, banged fingers or anything like that makes you play lefty or anything like that?
Not lefty. I'll never forget the first time I hit my hand into a tree, full go. Ooh. And I thought I broke the thing because I had never felt such a pain. I've never broken a bone ever in life, knock on wood. Seriously. Knock it home, okay, for me, because
That's gonna be great for everybody.
sorry, people listening on headphones. But no, I mean, I'll never forget that pain. So I think I do sometimes get nervous when I'm in some scramble positions, and I think about that, and it's like so quickly. Also, your brain brings that feeling or that sensation back, like if you're in a trouble spot. But no, I haven't dealt with an injury. I remember I introduced one of my friends to the game, and he's a big baseball player, and so I said, hey, okay, let's talk about what a forehand is, right? So I was like, okay, the shot is like this, and it'll fit at right hand. I didn't know this. He had a wrist injury, or like, but not current. It was
Sure.
it was an old lingering one, and he was like, this angle is weird for me. But his flex forehand game was on fire, and I'm like, okay, like now we know what shape is comfortable for you. Yeah. So it really is just adjusting, and I think too, we need to think. Everybody's an athlete who picks up a disc at any time. They have to think of themselves as an athlete, and you have to condition your body to play the sport, right? If you want to play for a long time, you want to play one round, multiple rounds, a couple times a week. The body takes on a lot when we play disc golf. We carry a bag. If that's too much for you, think about getting a cart, or think about rolling your discs. Think about how you can help your body. Do you need to stretch? Do you need to, I don't know,
hydrate?
do some, always hydrate. I mean, think about what you can do before and after each round to help your body recover and be ready to play, so that you're not in that moment thinking about an injury or thinking about that risk.
And there's so many outlets too in disc golf, like now that the sport's grown exponentially, that there are, physical health promotional groups such as like Disc Golf Strong,
for sure,
where they're gonna guide you to be ready to play and like do like a pre-check. Hey, the body feels good, ready to do this, versus just, having an injury, pushing on it. Definitely find an alternative. Possible break for sure.
Yeah, I would agree.
So in terms of play styles and developing your game as you get more advanced, more experience, we both said we kind of have a forehand, we're working on it. Let's talk a little bit about training and training sessions and things that you can do as a new player, or even intermediate, advanced, and even pro players. I'm sure somebody could help them with their game. So in your guys' opinions, who may be the wider audience of who should be getting lessons other than everybody?
Well, let's let the coach at the table take this question, or at least
So,
start off.
There was a lot there, and I was trying to think of the last kind of wording of it was, like, what group should take lesson?
Who should take a lesson?
I found,
Or at what point?
right,
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I think that there's got to be a lot of self-discovery in the first 6 months to a year with disc golf, where you need to just enjoy it and have fun. Where you playing every day is the only thing that matters. You're enjoying it. I think the desire to grow can be there, and you will get better every single day. It's just proof in that. Now, will you hit a wall eventually? Yes. Now, that usually happens around a year, year and a half to 2 years. And I had a lot of friends that would come and go in disc golf when I first started playing. You'd see all these faces one summer, the next summer, boom, they're gone. And that's when I was an intermediate and advanced player. Oh, how long you been playing? Oh, 2 years. And they didn't do so good that tournament, and then they were done. They were gone. So that's the crucial stage, because you're ready. You understand the game. You know the lingo. You could be talked to and understand what you're trying to. The individual would be able to comprehend the lesson at hand.
Right.
Versus picture somebody, it's an introduction to disc golf. Those are a completely different style of lesson. If you're looking to improve your skills, I think you need to know what those skills can be and what they are to improve on before you can just show up and work on all these things you didn't know. So there's value in getting some time on the course and establish what is your strong points, what do you really see doesn't work for you and you don't understand. I think anywhere 6 months to a year is a really good time to work with a coach or a lesson. But also in the meantime, always ask questions. Disc golfers are very helpful. You'll get multiple opinions and you'll end up with just a great, memory bank of ideas and concepts, which is a big part of disc golf.
Always new things you could try and work on your own game.
Right.
That makes sense.
For me, when I was starting out, shout out to my friend Chris. He was the one who brought me into this game, and we talked about technique from the first moment. I think I held a disc in my hand. Like, we went through different grips. What do the grips do? What's a power grip? What's a fan grip? All of that. And to putting mechanics, to everything. He broke down the game into every little thing, talking about the backhand. What is rounding? Okay, why is that a problem? What's your reach back? Where is that comfortable? What's a power pocket? Like, everything. And it was like within a week or two, I had all these terms, and I was hitting Google all the time for this. But I loved it. That's kind of how I operate, though. I love techniquing things and always wanting to get better. And so I would create a lot of videos, send a lot of videos. He would take stills and draw lines in them and say, okay, your arm's at this angle, you want it at this angle, where's your body, where's your shot going? And it really got me thinking about how my whole body, literally from head to toe, created a shot. And it wasn't just, okay, I'm gonna throw and I hope it goes in the right direction. And that's what fascinated me and kept me coming back. So maybe, people shouldn't have like lesson to really think about distance and stuff, but I personally loved it from the beginning, having structure and knowing what I was going for. Like, knowing what I wanted to emulate. Looking at players and saying, I think my shot could be like this, or I think my body moves more like this than like that. And kind of seeing where your game could fit.
I like the drive and all that. Like, I don't got time to not know what this is all about. I just, give me the keys to the Ferrari, because
let's go.
It's go time.
Ooh! All right, that's the end of our game.
With that being said,
Just kidding.
Now we're doing
Just
disc
kidding.
golfers in cars getting coffee.
but that,
Ooh.
but that's interesting, because we've spent a little time working together too.
Yeah.
And to hear how the lesson approach was, it's like really, really good. I mean, out of everything, I've heard a lot of horror stories. I've seen a lot of horrific things in terms of teaching, like individuals. Teachers get frustrated and stuff, but to hear whoever Chris was to you, and he showed you this, I mean, that's amazing, because to be able to take the time to get through to you, he got through to the right person, clearly. You have just a natural ambition, and he went with it. So he wanted you,
Yeah.
you know, so he wanted you to understand everything you were asking. So to draw lines and get you to understand these things, you may not fully have known what it maybe all meant, but like you quickly learned.
Yeah.
And
But it's something I still like to do as well. Like it's something that I thought was interesting at the start, and I said, okay, I see the value in this, and so I can take videos of myself and say, where's my body? Where am I closing? Where's my hip? Is my hip rotating before my arm? And you can break everything down for yourself if you know what you're looking for.
how far do you think you will drive your disc this year
Oh, no.
before the year is over?
Okay, well, I know what your answer is.
Tell me.
Lou
how
says that I'm going to
far-
drive 400 feet.
That's it.
We did some great work.
For
That'll be done.
reference, how far do you throw now?
Give or take.
Stop.
Why am I looking at you?
No, because this is a tough topic for
I think-
us to talk about.
I'm just wondering, give us, are you throwing 390 and you're trying to go, or are you throwing 300, 250? Just give us a reference.
When it all goes right, like not nose up, in the pocket, I'd say probably full power shot, maybe 320, 315.
Okay, so she's given the same answer. What she doesn't realize to mention is the style and the technique that she has, and the things that she kind of unlocked in terms of tapping into fast power and taking all her good techniques
That was a big
and
deal.
applying them, and just perceiving the throw a little differently versus this. It's all technical and it's all skill, but in a speed sense, and how to like allow yourself to believe what speed is and how to go faster than you've ever thought before, and that's what's going to create distance. So the amount of speed that she was moving at, if you lined it up to anybody else throwing, they're throwing like 65, almost, 68, just short of 70 miles an hour. That's the motion she has, and the towel work and the disc work and everything. When you hear it, your reaction stopped. We're doing a virtual lesson, and she finally connected the two things I was trying to get, and it just popped the towel right in front of her, and I was like this on the camera, and she could see me, and she just turned around, she just covered her mouth, she's like, oh my God. I'm like, just like that every
I
time.
laughed and I fell on the floor because it was a sound that I have never heard before, snapping a towel.
And I was like, if you had a
You were
disc in your hand,
shocked.
I was like, if you had the right disc in your hand, the right weight, that was easily a 400-foot shot. That was, if you do that every time, you're throwing 400-foot shots every time.
And that work happened in the basement in the winter. Like, I know in the last episode we talked about off season and what things can happen, but like,
You'll
you
see.
can always be working on something.
Right.
So we'll see. I don't know.
We'll
I mean,
see. It's coming.
we'll have to see at the end of the
gonna be a good
season
year.
if I.
Yeah.
Oh God.
We're gonna get you in a distance competition. Yeah.
Better watch out.
So
right.
obviously you two work together on the training aspect. We're talking about training.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about finding someone, obviously you have to be knowledgeable at disc golf, knowledgeable about how to portray what you're trying to say to somebody. But what about finding somebody who's akin to your throwing style, whether they throw that way too, or they're just knowledgeable about that? I like to use the reference that a lot of NFL coaches, they probably played at some point, but they weren't all NFL players, but they're just have the better
Defensive coaches.
ability to portray what needs to be done than others, even if they didn't play.
Sure. They got a head coach is gonna have a grasp of the whole game.
Right, exactly.
So I consider myself a head coach because I have a great grasp on the entire game. I feel I could show a lot of people a lot of things. Now, if you are predominant in forehand, is like my skill where I cannot reach. To me, what keeps up with the top professionals in terms of forehands, I can't with distance. I still use it. I'm still looking for technique, and I can get someone to throw as far as me, and I feel like I could see them better than I could see myself and maybe push them a little bit. But I will, if anybody ever gets into a lesson with me and they're working forehand, backhand, it's no problem. If they're predominant forehand, I work with them, and I'll always suggest them to keep on a lookout for somebody that they're impressed by with a forehand. And please pick their brain, because what they can offer you, if this is something that you connect with as a predominant style, they're going to have the best answer for you. So if there is a style out there that best matches you, don't be ignorant. Just throw yourself in front of the bus and just take it off. It's
absorb what they have. What
it's
they're
it.
doing. Even
It's
if they're
it.
not like a trainer.
Doesn't
Try
matter.
to pick their brain. And
You never
get the
know.
information.
One sentence could be it. You can ask Joanna. I say the most weirdest things, and we don't know how they really apply, but they'll stick. And it's like, oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
It's just anything to get you to understand what to try to do.
Yeah.
Right. You have to speak the same language or figure out what language that is and then develop it together.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned doing your homework. So I did my homework. I don't know if you know this. You don't. I didn't tell you this. So, but I was looking online for people who gave lessons, and I saw that you were one of those people. And I knew that. I had watched you on coverage, and I did pick you out for your game. And I said, I love his style. I love your backhand. I love your putt. There was a lot about your game that I said, I want that.
Wow.
I want to do that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And so I think it was at Team Challenge. I was like, hey, I'm Joanna, and I want to learn from you.
Listen, I know who you are. There's no missing Joanna when you're. No, that's
Well,
awesome.
no, but I think it is really important because there are some people I know from the club that I play with who are amazing, who are like the biggest forehand bombers ever. And do I want to do that one day? Yeah. But is that what I think I need right now is those lessons? Maybe not, because I want to have a big power shot. And I know that's not going to come from my forehand. Not that they don't throw backhands by any means. They're amazing players all around. Like, come on, everybody has a great game. But I knew that that's what I wanted to achieve, and I figured that Lou was the person to do it.
Wow.
So,
Well, it certainly seems to be working out pretty well.
well, we'll see if I hit 400 feet. If I don't, he's not the guy. Just
Listen,
kidding.
I'm shocked. I'm still shocked to hear you say 320, 315. I just.
Why? You don't think
got
that's
more.
true?
You got
think?
more.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
that's what you are currently.
I think so.
That's the last thing she remembers.
Okay, that's maybe true. I don't know the
you
last.
threw a towel 400 feet, according to her, which is great.
It was, what was it? 900 count Egyptian cotton towel.
Yeah.
Oh, it was
Not
a
easy.
Pillowcase.
pillowcase. It was a pillowcase.
When we work on throwing techniques, we use light, long pillowcases.
But yeah, to wrap it up, it's important to see what style you want to emulate and
Yeah.
find that person.
Absolutely. So moving on to another topic similar for new players, throwing styles, things like that. I think a lot of new players fall trapped to the I want to throw the highest speed disc that is out there. If they make 100 speed, I'm going to throw a 100 speed disc because I want to throw 400 feet the first time I ever go outside.
Oh man.
But obviously, as soon as you start learning and researching and watch any kind of tutorial YouTube video, most players will tell you to throw lower speed discs at the beginning. So what is the allure of throwing high speed discs if the examples over and over again are it doesn't work?
I don't know. I never have. Like the highest speed disc in my bag is a 10. And I have one. I have two of them. One a lightweight and
Now,
one
was
is
that
slightly
like that
heavier.
as soon as you started?
No. I think the fastest, I don't know. I threw a lot of leopards. Different plastics of leopards to kind of feel the difference there. But no, I think you need to get those shots down, and until you turn them over consistently, then okay, you got to disc up, and it all depends on arm speed. But I was never like, okay, give me that 12, give me that 13 speed, let's go, I'm a bomber. No, I knew that, and I just never did.
The higher speed discs are fun for their shots if you could find the right fit, stability-wise. I think the rim is so wide, I think you just got to operate on a good speed with your throw. Have a great sure grip and a good speed for them to be like really productive. They do make discs that are, super flippy drivers.
Now, is a low speed arm throwing a flippy high speed disc?
It's a thing.
Is it gonna go any farther than if you throw the speed of the disc that matches your arm speed?
Let me propose you this question, and I hate to undermine what you just asked, but if you were learning how to play golf and you went out to go play ball golf and you wanted to hit drivers you would use a driver, right? And if you wanted to get into golf and you're a beginner, you would want to get the most beneficial drivers for beginners. Something with the biggest club face, something that fits a new player's game. And the same with disc golf, that there are discs that are going to give you the comfort of feeling like you're using the disc. And it's not going to go as far as the pros just because you're using the driver, but you are playing the game with dignity. Like I needed to go out right away and have some 12 and 13 speeds. When I found out that they were capping it and I couldn't get a 100-speed disc, I was pretty upset. Yeah. I can't imagine what that would look like. It looked like this table.
Yeah, throwing a garbage can away.
Right. But yes, I think that they serve a good point, but it's I don't know what to call it though. It's not ego. There's a market for it. There's scenarios where I need flippy, wide rim, high-speed drivers, and an amateur and a beginning player might need that as well too. Right. Big tailwind. Who knows? That might be the most overstable thing that they have, and it's a headwind disc. But for me, I couldn't jump putt it without it turning over. So it serves a practical purpose, but then again, when you label something in a term, I don't want to use people's brand names, but some of their overstable stuff has like this very strong name. And listen, I'm going to tell you right now, if I go out there, I want the disc on it that says like, I don't know, Iron Tiger on it. And I'm not going to buy the little pink pony putter, like it's like a word association. Like you're getting ready for battle. Like I want a serious vibing sounding disc. It comes down to marketing or something. And then you can just get suckered into buying the wrong disc for you. You got the flight numbers are there. It's all going to be suggestions and references from the community, and they're going to push popular brands. And a lot of those big, rim discs are all popular. They have to push them, so they got to. It is what it is. It has its place.
So you brought up a good point that some players, new players, are seeing the pros throw these high-speed discs. Maybe that's one of the reasons why they think they can or just want to try buying these high-speed discs. Now, part of that is the marketing, like you said, from the manufacturers. Obviously, the manufacturers are trying to sell all their discs, whatever it may be. A lot of it, I think, they're marketing these high-speed discs through the pro players. Now, obviously, that's not the best for the new players if they're not able to throw those discs. So do you think there's any fault from the manufacturers, or do they have a responsibility for new players to either not market the wrong disc to them or make more of the right ones?
Well, I think that this past year with Paige Pierce making the Passion was a great disc. Yes, it's a 9-speed. It is so accessible. I've got it. I liked it a lot. And yeah, there's a lot of overlap in my bag with some 9-speeds, but I wanted this disc because I said, okay, this is new. There's something about this that is new, but is probably perfect for where my game is right now. And I think it's exciting that a new disc came out and it wasn't just a Tour Series stamp of something that already exists for people to get hype around. And I don't know how the sales did. I don't know anything more about it, but I hope that it flew off the shelves into people's bags, because I think that's a great example of what just happened, that a manufacturer created something new to be accessible to, a slower arm speed, I guess you could say.
There's the Tour Series stuff where like they'll just throw a name on it and they're just raising money and stuff like that. But when they get behind the player, I think what you'll see is that they push the big arm overstable stuff because, like, if you were a kid and you were watching like Michael Jordan, it's like, wow, I wonder what kind of shoes he's wearing. You want to have what the pros have. And it makes you connect with the game. It also pushes the sport for people to push the physics of these discs and their athletic abilities.
Right.
So, all right, so they're throwing what Calvin's throwing, they're throwing what Ricky's throwing, they're throwing what Paul's throwing, and that's good. That's good for the sport, for sure. I think the cool thing is that there's tons of sponsored players, there's tons of companies, and there's tons of different styles. And when it comes down to it, you'll find that all brands are supporting somehow a facet of every type of disc there is: a putter, a mid-range, a driver, a fairway driver, overstable, understable, in everything. So Is it every mold gets a signature series run? Nah, I think that would be overkill. So like the stock stamp's good on a lot of stuff because it just pertains to everybody. And realistically, anybody could be using any variety of disc, and it could be their go-to. I'm trying to think of like an extreme, but people love their really overstable stuff, and they love their really flippy stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, when you think of the top level pros, they have all of these types of discs in their bag. Not just the overstable distance drivers, they have everything in the line because they need it all in any kind of shot that'll come up on a course. They need that flippy 7-speed, 9-speed. Are they in the woods? You're not going to throw a high-speed driver there, and they throw all that plastic. Like, do newer players maybe realize that sometimes they're throwing a 7-speed or a 9-speed? Maybe not. I don't know, but they are.
Yeah, I felt like a mere mortal. When I realized, I seen pros playing for the first time, I was like, it's doable. I couldn't do what I was watching them do, but it made me realize it was possible. So
You can throw a putter 450 feet.
I'm telling you,
it's wild. I don't know how.
Yeah, it's fun.
We'll see by the end of the year if I throw them.
Right.
I'm just kidding.
Putter 450. You heard it here.
Listen, you better get it on the first try because your arm's going to be tired after the 100th try.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So let's say a newish player, 1 or 2 years, gets the right speed disc that fits their arm speed, the right stability, whatever it may be. At what point in the development of their game should they be then looking for either more stable or higher speed discs? Basically, when should they upgrade? Or what signs in their game do you think they should be able to do that?
I kind of mentioned this before, but I think when you start turning the disc over and you're sure that the shot was the same and you weren't pulling over. Like if you knew you were releasing on a Hyzer angle and it flipped up, oh my gosh, it kept flipping, oh my gosh. Okay, maybe that disc's a little flippy for you now.
Yeah.
Let's go to something different or try a different plastic. Like if you turn over a DX Leopard, okay, a lot of people do. Great. Let's try something else. Like for me, I throw a Pro Leopard, and that's actually kind of stable. Like I know I can rip on it, and it won't turn over. But you put a different plastic for that same mold in my hand, it's rolling. So it's just kind of interesting, and I feel like people don't think about playing with plastics a lot. They're like, okay, boop, check mark, I've accomplished this disc. Let's go bigger and better. When really, there's a lot you can do in switching to plastic if you like the feel in your hand.
Right. Yeah, that's a big thing of how it feels, and all the different plastics have different stabilities.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Right.
I would think that when I have my bag now, so from an early on perspective, I wanted, if I were to go do field work with my bag, I want understable to overstable putters, understable to overstable mid, understable to overstable fairway, understable to overstable long distance driver. And I want to be able to see that in my field work where I throw my bag in a stock flat shot, just a straight pump, and I watch the disc be overstable. I watch it be straight. I watch it flip for the first part of the flight. It's like, all right, my drivers are good. My fairway drivers are good. My mids are good. My putters are good. I think having a well-rounded bag is something that you need. You need your discs to be able to do everything in every mold that they come in.
So once you see them breaking your pattern of stable, straight, understable, maybe that's when your game is developed and it's time to move to a new plastic or a faster.
As your technique betters, and if you're using cheaper plastics, I always recommend when you're learning to get premium plastic right away, it just helps slow down the curve of the disc, and it allows you to stay with you learning the disc. Where the disc is a cheaper plastic and it's beating up as you're learning how to throw, you're trying to learn with a changing disc. It's like I tell people all the time, like, if you're going to give an effort right now with all this technique you're going to try to apply, whatever you do, just tell yourself to do it 100%. And even if it's a fail, you'll learn what was out of place. You're not going to learn anything from going half go at it. So having a disc that's constantly changing on you is just as inefficient. So having premium plastic's important, and having a disc that does it all for each kind of shot that there is. You want stuff that'll flip, stuff that'll fight. And once you can identify what the discs are doing in your bag and you have a well-rounded bag, I think you start slowing down the shuffle and what you're bringing in and what you're putting out, and then you really just believe in them, and you begin that relationship with them that it's going to be your disc, that's your mold, that's your go-to. You start looking for backups, you start looking for replacements, and now you're trying to see what their stability is. And
Right.
It's fun. It's disc golf.
It is fun. Disc golf. I mean, that's why we're all here, right?
Yeah.
Disc golf is fun. So that's the ends of the topics that I had. We haven't had a story. Does anybody have a story off the top of their head that they'd like to tell for this episode? I know, Lou, you're always full of stories.
I will talk about something like what we're doing now and the space we're working in, and then we're talking about lessons. It had me thinking a little about the beginning of me when I ever gave a lesson. The house that I was living in previous had this awesome downstairs space. It was wide open. The whole footprint of the house was, I think, like 45 feet by 30 feet. And down the middle, it was just steel columns. But it had a high ceiling. I took the whole one alley of it for 44 feet and I made it into a disc golf alley where there was green grass, there was high definition, 8-foot by 10-foot picture against the wall of a fall lake. I hung leaf tarp, which is like a black netting, dark netting, very tight knit. And I hung that from the ceiling down, so you would throw towards the lake, try to clear it on your tee shots in concept. I built a tee pad, and we had baskets down there, fake trees and everything.
Wow.
We had
That's so fun.
we had
Why did you move?
we had high-powered fans. We were emulating like headwind putts in the basement. It was really interesting for a while.
Full disc golf simulator.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my
and we actually
gosh.
developed a way to play a disc golf round. It was an honor system, and we would play 18 rounds of disc golf from there. It was really fun, and just thinking about everything and the passion of teaching, and how many
There's
years
your
has
off
gone
season.
by.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how it's gone by, and doing these lessons, working with some individuals right now with like a legit RAN site where they're giving lessons and you can book them, and I think that's a cool concept. I think moving forward and just taking what we talked about today, just seeing it in like a whole long timeline, just thinking about the future and where it all goes towards is inspiring, because the passion behind it, the people that are along for the journey, it's really cool. So from these weird beginnings of creating a disc golf alley to practice in my basement for my friends to practice during the winter, to giving lessons now, and to, you know, hopefully inspiring just more than Joanna. But if I could only inspire one, I couldn't pick a better student, you know.
Also, like, extra plus that we're friends.
Yeah.
This is
Like,
fun.
you know what I
It
mean?
just works out.
Yeah.
It's easy. So this is a great show. I really
Yeah,
had fun
that's
time.
awesome.
That's cool.
Sorry I put you on the spot. I knew you wouldn't let me down with this.
No, it was good.
You always have a
The
story.
story
I'm
guy.
trying to
the story
learn
guy.
to be direct with what I say, and I'm trying to understand what short-winded means.
He's working on it.
Yeah, he's-
Every time
work in progress.
I get on the phone with Lou, the first thing he does is just gets into a story.
Don't even
Unrelated, doesn't say, hey, what's going on? Nope. So, I was the other day, I was doing this, blah, blah, blah. It's great. I love it.
You're
So I
right.
know you're always my man for when I need a story to fill out, you know, an episode.
welcome,
But
folks.
with that, thank you both again for being on the 3rd episode of HyzerCast. I think it's going well so far.
Yeah.
The next one's our 4th annual.
4th
right.
in a month consecutive. Yeah, something like that.
Amazing.
Anyway, thanks for watching. Super appreciate you guys. If you haven't done so yet, subscribe to us on YouTube. If you're listening to us on any of the podcast platforms, send us a review. That really helps with the algorithm and things like that. It helps other people find it and things like that.
And tell us what you want to talk about.
Yeah, comments, that helps. Definitely gives us some topics to talk about. Maybe you have questions about things we've already talked about. We clarify, things like that. Also exclusive content, different HyzerCrew rounds are posted to Patreon, 1 extra bonus episode a month. And once we get through tournament season, all the highlights of every round will also be on Patreon. So be sure to check that out. Other than that, we'll see you in the next hole.
Bye.